Sifu Rafael is the founder and host of Coaching Call, Heroes Rising, The Seer Show, and New Tip Daily. He works with individuals, groups, and businesses and helps them find clarity, purpose, and understanding of who they really are in business and personal life. Sifu Rafael has used his skills to develop a variety of multifaceted businesses in the martial arts and fitness industries. He owns and operates a 10,000 square foot martial arts and fitness facility in New York. Jose Escobar is an award-winning, nationally recognized personal development speaker, published author, and sales professional. He leads compelling, high-level communities consisting of entrepreneurs and advanced leaders through his two business models, the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf and the Connected Leaders Academy. He is also the co-host of Heroes Rising.
Jose, happy Friday, my friend. How's everything going?
Everything is fantastic. Always good, always improving, always looking forward to new things. And it is Friday. But in the entrepreneurial world, there's no such thing as a weekend, right? Really?
No. Actually, you and I, we talk about the weekend. We both know it's not a weekend; it's a strong end.
That's right.
And so tomorrow we're having a mastermind near you.
We are.
Want to tell us quickly about that?
Yes, Olney, Maryland, Montgomery County, Maryland. If you live in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, any of the surrounding states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Delaware, West Virginia, you're anywhere within driving distance of 5 to 6 hours. I'm telling you right now, it is so worth it. We have even folks coming from Canada, right? 2 folks coming from Canada. Right. It's going to be a fantastic mastermind dinner, exclusive private VIP event. You, Sifu, are going to be one of our keynote speakers for that, and we're going to do some masterminding. We're going to do some networking. We're going to have a live band there, cocktails, mocktails, a high-end 5-star dinner. I mean, this place, by the way, Salt and Vine, is my favorite place to eat. It's a local favorite here. It's a 5-star Italian restaurant, so I'm super, super excited. And guess what, Sifu? The house is fully booked. We're there's like no more spots left. I might sneak in another 1 or 2 people. If somebody reaches out to me and you see this and you still want to come, I'll sneak in 1 or 2 of you, but we are at capacity, so I'm excited.
Love it. Well, we are excited for today's show because we have 2 CLA members joining us, right? Let's go ahead and bring them on. Shiraz, my friend, come on down. And Mark, how are you both gentlemen doing today?
Fantastic.
Today's topic, which I love, empowering mindsets, and unleashing potential. So much, we could talk for days on these 2 topics, right? Who'd like to start with something that we can all dive into?
Take it away. It's one of you.
Yes, I won't be bashful. So, because that's really one of the things that I focus on with my work with kids is. But to me, the most important thing in terms of empowerment is having your identity statement decided upon by yourself. In other words, you decide who you are. You don't let the loudest voices in your orbit make that choice for you.
I love that. Even though the government does give us an ID, we can still have our own ID. Shiraz, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, just sort of to build on that, it's that place of loving yourself. We often look for love externally, and we expect other people to get it. And if other people give it to us, then we're worthy. Then we have value. But when you start loving yourself first, fill yourself up with love, that gets reflected back at you. People see your value. They see how much love you have for you, and they are drawn to you.
Shiraz, I got to tell you, to me right now, you look incredible because you have this bright mind. Okay, actually, it's the light behind you, which is shining. But but you do have a bright mind, and it's so perfect that the light is right there, just letting us know how bright you are.
was actually because I'm using natural lighting from the window, and all of a sudden the clouds started coming in. So I'm like, I better turn the light on, and this is what we get.
Great choice. Great choice. Jose, when you consider mindset and the empowering aspects that we have to do for our own, you talk a lot about mindset. What we do every day separates us from others. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So first of all, mindset is everything, because I think companies and individuals grow and also fall at the level of their ability to have a strong mindset. Right? You either have a strong mindset or a weak mindset. I call it a winner's mindset. And mental toughness is required, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. It's going to be peaks and valleys, ups and downs, highs and lows, right? It's never going to be just like this. It's never going to be only like this unless you allow it to, or just like this, right? You're going to have the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows. So you have to be able to navigate those waters. You have to be able to flow like water, like Bruce Lee talks about, right? And again, it requires mental toughness. It requires a mindset where I am going to win. I am going to find a solution to this challenge. I am going to get to the other side of this bridge. I am going to find a way to figure it out. Resourcefulness is key. And it goes back to your mindset, right? So many people out there in life and in business acknowledge defeat before the battle, right? They like stepping in the ring with Mike Tyson. You see Mike Tyson on the other end of the ring, and he already beat you, because you already acknowledge that he's going to knock you out in your mind. And of course, he's going to knock you out because you're prepared for it, right? You already know it's going to happen. And as soon as you get punched in the face, you're like, oh, yeah, my thoughts were correct. So you have to manage your thoughts. You have to manage what you allow to go into your mind, and you have to manage what you allow to kind of take root and become a stronghold in your mind. And it has to be winning thoughts. It has to be a winner's mindset. And that is huge. I cannot tell you how important it is. I think it's everything. Is the winner's mindset is the foundation for anything you build upon.
And yet so many people have a losing mindset. So we need to capture that winning mindset every day, because guess what? It eludes us. People are trying to take it away from us. So every day you have to sharpen that sword. You have to, you may never know when the dragon is coming, and you may have to slay it. So have a sharp sword, my friends. Open conversation, gentlemen. So don't be shy. I know Mark earlier, he said he was diva, but that means that now you can also talk at any given time, even interrupt me. Go ahead. I'm going to talk and you're going to interrupt me. I'm just kidding here. But
No, fair enough.
in reality, we have to step into it, because from the outside, we never know what's inside. We have to get in it.
Yeah. If I can build on what Jose just said, it's funny because I literally just wrote an article on LinkedIn yesterday that touches on that. And it's really about how we as adults really have to go back to be more kid-like. And I talked about the 3 traits that we all have as kids. They're innate within us, but that are either beaten out of us by the education system or that we just forget. And those 3 traits are number 1 is persistence. So it's just like you were talking about. It's like you're going to find a way to get there. And I equate that back to, it's like, think about it. When was the last time you saw a kid quit trying to walk? Right? It just doesn't happen. They fall down, they hurt themselves, they cry, whatever, they wipe themselves off, and they just get back at it. The second thing is curiosity. All kids are naturally curious, right? They're at that point where they're literally designed to grow and to be adventurous. And it's the only thing that limits them is their perspective. So when they're crawling, they can only see things that are on the ground level, right? They find more keys and change than parents knew that they lost, right? And once they can hold on to the coffee table, like, oh, there's stuff up there I didn't see before. Now they start to reach for it, right? And then when they get a little bit older, they start pulling out drawers in the kitchen so they can climb on top of the countertop to get to the cookies that are on top of the refrigerator and stuff like that, right? But they're always curious, in that we as adults often tend to think that we've learned it all. And then the third one is basically innovation. So there's a reason why oftentimes kids would rather play with the box that the gift came in than the gift that came in the box. Because usually the box, or not the box, but the gift is designed for a use, a thing, right? I mean, it may be fun, but that's pretty much all that it is. Whereas the box, especially depending on the size, can be anything. Right? It could be a house, a boat, a spaceship, a fort. You could tear it up and make it into other things. So there's no limit to what the kid's imagination can do with it. And I think that's a big thing, that why a lot of companies don't innovate, is because it's like, our company does this, our market is this. We're worried about competition, right? So we don't want to let anybody else know about it, as opposed to finding ways that you can maybe pair up with somebody else, form a new market with joint, your products working together, kind of thing, and just be more kid-like. I think you would be destined to be more successful in business if you would just use those 3 traits.
I love it. One of the things that I'm going to ask you all, gentlemen, a question is, how do you find a kid in a person? And then I'm going to tell you how I do it.
Interesting question. It's also it's amusing to me, because I see a lot of adults that watch kids and they're like stunned. It's like, why is he doing that? What was she thinking? And I'm like, well, if you still had that child mindset, you know exactly what they're thinking. And we tend to lose that when you stay in that place of playful curiosity that Mark is talking about. Then you stay in that place of wonder. I know for me, I still watch cartoons every morning. Like, that's how I start my day, because I just want to be in that childlike state and what's up for today. And that's one of the ways I get there is I'll go to something childlike, in like a cartoon I used to watch, or some of the new ones coming out. I will play with toys every now and then. I still do things. I don't know who else does this. You ever like take your pen apart and just play with the different pieces and then reassemble it together?
2 today. I did 2 of them today.
And yeah, so that's the thing about getting into that childlike state. And I just want to also add on to one thing that Mark was talking about with the child crawling. Mindset is also about environment. And it's amazing how our parents, when we're trying to learn to walk and we stumble, they're like, you've got this, you've got this. But then when we're in high school or something and we stumble on a test, it's like, what's wrong with you? And the attitude changes as you grow up, rather than that constant nurturing. And that's just because that's what they were taught and that's what their parents were taught. When that environment can change, so you're always feeling nurtured and encouraged, it's going to change your mindset. So that's just the way you live your life.
Love it. Love it.
I love that. I'd like to very quickly piggyback off your question and kind of what was said from Mark and Shiraz in terms of bringing out the kid in people, right? Like, I think my strategy is quite simple, and it's a very unique strategy. Maybe it's not, who knows? But to me, in my mind, it's unique. What I do is I appeal to the dreams, the ambitions, the passions of the individual, right? Because a lot of times in the corporate world, or as you pursue entrepreneurship, or you're pursuing something great that is outside the box or bigger than reality, it gets shot down by your friends, by your family, by the boss, by people saying, oh, stop dreaming, oh, stop thinking too big, or oh, you're in the clouds, or let's get real. Can you just live in reality for a little bit, right? And I think that as a lot of people tell you that, and you start to see how everybody kind of like conforms to a box in life, right? Everybody kind of conforms to, like, I can only go but this high. This is what my career offers. This is the safety net that I have. This is the traditional, go to school, get a good education, get a good job for 40 years of your life. And then one day you'll retire in financial dignity, assuming you keep your nose clean. Like, these are all the things that people are told, the way they're raised, and they have this like almost like structured path. And anything outside of that is, what are you thinking? Why are you doing that? Why rock the boat? Why go out of your way to pursue something that may or may not happen? It's just going to cost you time, money, and energy. And you're just going to let yourself down and let your family down. So I challenge people and I push people to say, hey, no, tap into your ambitions, tap into your passions, develop new passions, and dream big, and dream very big. And don't let go of your dreams, because anything is possible if you set your mind to it. I mean, just look at Elon Musk. But anyway, the floor is back to you, Sifu.
Well, one of the things that I want to congratulate you and your family, Jose, that you have your 6th child, you have Dominic Croy, who enlightened your family. And when we think about bringing the child in a person, or actually to find out even if they have that in them, I like to put cookies at knee level because most adults don't look. They only want to see what's in front of them at this level. They never look low because it's beneath them. So therefore, you know if somebody's truly paying attention, if they see the whole picture. For those people that don't see the cookies at knee level, is because it's too beneath them to look. So maybe it's not cookies, but maybe it's something else. Maybe they're not looking at another person because they're beneath them. I can't be talking to them. They're the janitor. Oof, I can't talk to them. They don't make as much money as me. They don't drive what I drive. They don't live in the neighborhood I live in. So when we think of childhood, we got to think that as a child, we didn't care about money. We cared about friendships. We cared about playing. We cared about engaging with another human being. That's what's so important. And that's what so many adults lose. We need to reconnect. That's why I think all four of us, obviously Jose is the one that started it, but we all belong to Connected Leaders Academy because it is exactly that. And Jose, thank you for creating such an incredible environment for us to be there and to share our successes, our dreams that you talk about, because you can't live on yesterday's dreams. You got to continue to dream every single day. Mark, and I know that you are so adamant about working with children and making sure that they're heard. How do you bring out the childhood or help someone realize their childhood in an adult?
Well, usually the easiest way to do that is to make things fun, because that's when we had our most fun, is when we were kids. So if you can, somebody that you're working with, if you can make them laugh, if you can find a way to turn something into a game, maybe make some of the mundane tasks that are part of whatever your situation is, if you can find a way to make them silly, if you will, still get them done, but just to try and make it as much fun as possible, you'll find that the kid starts to come out even in the most reserved person.
Yeah, I definitely am a very reserved person by nature. Like, if I didn't inform my face to look happy, I would look like a stop sign at all times. So I absolutely understand the importance of tapping into fun, tapping into the kid-like nature that we all have. We all have it within us, right? And the reality is we suppress it over time because we have to adult, right? As they say,
Yeah.
we have to step into, in this case, fatherhood, or being a husband, or being a spouse, or a tremendous leader in an organization or your own business, whatever it is. So that requires you to say, hey, it's time to put the kid-like things away. But the question is, do you really have to? Right? There's a fine line between being kid-like in the spirit of the sense of the idea, versus behaving like a child, like a man child, where you're going out partying at nightclubs and all that at 50, 60, and you're still out in the nightclubs and getting wasted every night, and the stuff like that. I mean, that's a whole different thing, right? So, but for sure, we all have that within us. I think it's important to keep that and to nurture that and to never lose that, because that brings out the ability for you to have joy, right? I think a lot of us are always looking to be happy. It's not so much about being happy as it is to finding joy in the good, the bad, the hard times, the phenomenal times, and everything. So yeah, I love this this conversation. It's a good one.
Yeah, there's a difference between childish and childlike.
Yes, yes.
Well, I am a Toys R Us kid. That's it. I'm always looking to have fun, but you're right, Jose, that there are certain times where, and I even say this to the kids, it's okay to be silly and goofy and crazy, but there's also a time where we have to put on a different hat, and we have to be focused, and we have to do the right thing so that we can make time, and we should make time to be silly and ridiculous and goofy, right? When we consider all the things that life has to offer us, we should not just only eat one meal. We should have variety. And therefore, the way we behave also should have variety. The way we behave with our family, with our friends, with our colleagues, there should be variety. You should be somewhat playful in your work environment without getting out of control and becoming a fool. So we should enlighten other people with our charisma, right?
Mhm.
Just like Shiraz is enlightening us with his glow.
So,
And it's
go ahead.
also important because teaching kids that playfulness can carry into the adult world. That, you know, I was talking to my nephew when he was 15 years old, and there's a group of us, and we were saying, what's going on for you now? What are your plans? And he said, well, I'm 15. I'm going to have to start preparing for university. I got to start taking life seriously. And we're like, whoa, wait a second. And we said, well, what do you love doing now? And he says, well, you know, I go to hip hop dance classes and I love dancing, but I'm not going to ever make money off that. And we said, why not? I mean, if you want to, go ahead and make money off it. And he goes, I don't even know how to do that. And I said, because you're already saying you can't, right? So what if you can? What if you can do the hip hop and continue that on? What if you you follow your passions, which for him was movies and films. And by the same time next year, he had been paid to be in 4 hip hop videos, ages 15 and 16, and now he's doing video production, and he's having fun with it. He's just like, you can just go after what you love and stop thinking there's all these restrictions.
Right.
And he, having mindset training, this is really important for the people with kids. It starts right away. It starts with your attitude and towards life, and then the lessons you start to teach them. And when you're in that positive vibe, and you can't keep it all the time, but most of the time, then they're going to learn that they can be unstoppable.
Mm.
You know what? I have a question for all of you, but I'm going to just very quickly address what you just said. I teach my kids mostly through what I do and how I do it versus what I say. Because, your actions speak so loudly. I hear now what you say. So many people are saying, this is what you should do. You shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. It's about how you show up in life, right? So I think that's huge. And I love what you said, Shiraz. But I have a question for all of you, kind of going around the room here, as it pertains to mindset. How does one, and I'm sure we'll have 3 unique answers here if all goes well, because I'm looking to learn here. How does one develop a strong mindset in order to succeed in life and in business? Anyone?
I'll go first. It starts with you. Look in the mirror. And then they have an app now that you can put 30 years on you, and what would you look like in 30 years, right? So they have, like, I guess it's the old person app or whatever.
Yep.
But what if you looked in the mirror and you said, 40, 50 years from now, not only what do I look like, but what will I have in my life? Who will be there? If I had to sit with me, I would want to know, what did I do right? If I had to sit with me a week before I died, whatever age that is, that was the question that I would ask. What did I do right? And what could I have done better? And it starts with you. But don't wait to have that conversation a week before you die. Start today. Today is the day that you ask yourself, what do I want in my life? And then take action, because it doesn't happen all at once. You have to take steps. How many steps? 10, 20, 500, 5,000 to get to that happy place a week before you pass. Have you even considered that? And the other one, I'm going to add one more. write your last words today. Write what they're going to read at your funeral. Do them today so that you know what you want to be remembered for. That's my thought.
I love that. Shiraz was about to say something, but before we go to Shiraz, you mentioned the app, and I just had to find a picture because I'm going to reveal to the world right now, for the first time ever, you're going to get a sneak peek of what Jose Escobar is going to look like 30 years from now. Okay, so keep this to yourself, even though it's all over social media now. But
wow, look at you.
so that's me 30 years from now. That's one version, and then this is me 40 years from now, apparently.
Look at
Full on
you.
with the beard there, yeah.
So anyway, all right, Shiraz, take it away. What are your thoughts on mindset and how to develop a strong mindset?
So environment is very important, and there's that saying, you're the average of the 5 closest people to you. But it's not just your physical environment; it's your mental environment. So I consume books regularly. Like I've constantly got stuff on my Audible app, and I basically trained myself to take it in at a higher rate. So it's usually at about 3 times the speed. So I'm taking book after book after book. And there's certain books that you got to take them in multiple times because they're just that juicy that they're going to shift what's going on in your mindset. And the other thing I do is when things go right, I anchor that in, right? So for instance, I used to feel really proud when I worked really hard to accomplish something. And the only way I could get that feeling of pride was working really hard. So I'd pull all-nighters, I'd be doing long hours. I'm like, look what I'm willing to do. And then I realized, wait, could I feel great if I can accomplish something really quickly and easily instead of working hard all the time? And so nowadays, things just start happening for me. People take care of it for me, or I find a simple way to do it. And I anchor that instead of the working hard. I'm still willing to work hard to get stuff done, but because I anchor that it's getting easier all the time, it's getting quicker all the time, that starts showing up for me more and more. I start thinking in those terms more and more, and so I start getting those results. So by anchoring in what you want when it happens and saying, here's evidence that it's happening, and just letting go of the evidence of the bad stuff, it's like, well, that happened, but that's happening less and less. You start to shift your thinking to, well, this is who I am now.
Love that.
I love anchoring.
That.
I love it. Anchoring.
Excellent. What about you, Mark?
Well, to build upon that, to me, it all starts with the intention, right? That you can't build up a positive thought process mindset without thinking about it, right? So you have to decide for yourself who you are, and then you have to start building on what Shiraz said. You start talking about anchoring those things in there, because there's going to be times when you're talking about your environment, etc., that things will be going good for a while, and then something's going to happen, right? It could be something with a person could be something outside of your control, etc. What do you do then if you don't have that? Exactly. If you don't have the intentionality to work through that, it's not really a positive mindset. It's just it's kind of like, right? If you truly have that positive mindset, if you truly have that identity that doesn't stop for anything, when those things happen, you just start to work harder because you have to keep going, as opposed to when it happens, which is what happens to most people, is that bad thing happens and it's like, I got this far. Oh, well.
Yeah, love that as well. Thank you guys for sharing that. I took some copious notes as you guys were chatting here, and the reason why is because I'm always a white belt. You have to remain a white belt in order to have that desire to learn and grow. There's so many people who sit in a room like this and just kind of like just sit and listen. But the reality is very simple. We have to be sponges. We have to be ready, willing, and able to take notes, to think about these things, to go back and journal on these things, and ask ourselves how we can apply the new knowledge and the new information that we've acquired. So that's huge, and that's a whole different topic. But in terms of this topic of mindset, which is empowering mindsets and unleashing potential, is what we're talking about today. I absolutely, yes, go to the website. That's right at the bottom. Just kidding. Not to derail what I was saying, but the mindset piece, right? For me, kind of like looking at the perspectives of what you guys said, my perspective goes back to environment, kind of like what Mark, and I think all of us kind of alluded to that in some way, but Mark, you kind of went into that a little bit deeper. We have to choose an environment that demands the most of us, right? And Chris Matakas, I don't know if you guys know Chris Matakas in the martial arts industry. I think you do, Sifu Rafael out of Jersey. He says, you are only as strong as your environment demands you to be. Oh my goodness. Let me say that one more time. You are only as strong as your environment demands you to be. So we have to choose the right environment. We get to choose the environment that serves us best. And that's why I love to live in discomfort. I love to create situations where my back's against a wall and the only way out is to improve. Because if your life is going like this, right? Or sorry, your life is going like this. Oh, life is good. I'm comfortable. Let me tell you something that is a recipe for disaster. It is a recipe for your mindset to eventually tank, because what's going to, anything that is coasting eventually is roasting, as John Maxwell says, right? And anything that falls together falls apart. So, and anything that's worthwhile is uphill all the way. So you have to be positioning yourself to constantly fight hard, constantly improve, constantly adjust and tweak and constant course correct. If you're just kind of going through the motions, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a matter of time until we start kind of getting stale, right? I don't like to be stale. Who likes a stale soda, right? I certainly don't. I like a fresh soda, you know, juicy, amazing soda. We have to be vibrant. We have to be firing at our very best. And that demands that we put ourselves in an environment that will serve us at the highest level of discomfort. That's why I'm doing the Executive Edge 90 challenge right now. That's why I've done 75 hard 5 times. That's why I choose to wake up early. That's why I take cold showers. That's why I do all these different things I do, because guess what? It makes me, it forces me to become better. And when you become better and you're in that growth mode at all times, guess what happens? Your mindset develops calluses, and you get stronger and stronger and stronger and tougher and tougher and tougher. And then it's very hard for somebody to shake your tree, because your what's around your mind is rhino skin, and it cannot be affected. And that's the power of mindset.
It's very incredible, Jose, that you answered the question I was going to ask. And the question is, how do we unleash potential? And you just told us. I want everybody to take a look at this for a sec.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Considering when we come together, like we're doing right now, this is almost like a little mastermind, all different ideas based on the same things, empowering mindset, unleashing potential. It truly, when you put all those things together, it's just a recipe for us to learn from one another, for us to take notes, for us to take action. Because Jose knows, if you take notes, what are you going to have? A book full of notes. Great. What happens with that book? What happens with all the notes you've ever taken in your whole life? Do you go back and look at them? Do you take action from those notes? It's just like a thought. A thought is great. It's better written. And actions from that will help you in your journey, in your goal. It'll help you write those last words. So I write just like you guys every day. Yes. And I am taking notes today too, so that you guys see that it is important for us to not only listen to ourselves, but to listen to others. Because one of the things I was telling a client yesterday, because they love to talk, and I said, let me ask you, do you learn when you talk? Or do you learn when you listen? And they had to ponder on it. And I said, let me tell you my story. I've never learned anything when I'm the one speaking, because I already know it. So I can't learn from me. I got to learn from others. This is why having a coach is important. Having other people to pour onto us is important. This is why when Jose speaks, I'm listening. When Mark speaks, I'm listening. When Shiraz speaks, I'm listening. When Raquel, who's there, she's commenting, and we have some other people here on Facebook, we're everyday learners. When we can listen to words that inspire us and take action on those words, then we're learning. We're learning. And I encourage everybody to have that growth mindset. That's how you become the person you want to become. That's how Jose has all that gray hair on his beard, right? And 40 years from now, I don't know what I will physically look like, and nobody will, because life will give you scars. Whether you like it or not, life will give you scars. The scars that other people put on you, scars that we may never even see, but they're internal scars. And do you learn how to work around them and build from them? Thank you for your saying, Jose, because that is the question: is how do we unleash potential? Jose already answered it for all of us. Thank you, Jose.
I didn't realize you had a question, but what I will say, because I want to hear Mark and Shiraz and your perspective on that question, because I don't think there's one answer that is the end all be all, right? There's a lot of different angles to it. But one thing I will say about potential is I had a mentor of mine a while back, and I always have a mentor, but this was a specific mentor when I was like 18, 19. And he said to me, Jose, in order for you to improve in life, right, there's something called the 4-pane window. And that's a whole like masterclass in and of itself, which I'm not going to go into right now, but I'm just going to cover it in like 1 minute or less, right? The Reader's Digest version. So essentially, he said there's 4 panes, right? And if you want to improve in your life and you want to be better, you got to understand these 4 panes. And one of the panes of the window is things that I know about you that you know about you, right? Like, you know, your head is bald, you have a fake meow beard, not fully, fully there. You have 24-inch Hogan pythons. We both know that. I'm just kidding. So there's things that he knows about me that I know about me, right? That's obvious that we can both know. And then there's things that I know about me that that he doesn't know about me, like the skeletons in my closet, or certain things I've been through, or an experience I had, or what I think, or whatever it is, right? And then there's a third pane where there's things that he knows about me that I don't know about me. And he said, Jose, in order for you to achieve the 4th pane of the window, which is what I don't know about you and you don't know about you, and that 4th pane is your potential. He said, if there was something in the 3rd pane of this window, something that I knew about you that maybe you don't know about you because you're lacking that self-awareness, and there was something that if I told you this, it could get you closer to that full potential that we both don't know about you in the 4th pane, would you want me to tell you? And I said, of course. Right? Tell me. And that's how I started to grow. That was my initiation into personal development, personal growth, and understanding that in order for us to improve, we have to hear the hard things sometimes. Sometimes we need a tough love. Sometimes we need to be told some things that, maybe we don't want to hear, like, hey, you need a Tic Tac, your breath doesn't smell very good, right? Or, hey, by the way, you might want to bathe every day, as opposed to every other day. Or, hey, by the way, that jacket, that suit jacket that you wear, it's not supposed to come to here, to half of your, here, it's supposed to come to here. Or, by the way, the pants that you wear, they're a little too baggy. And based on the environment that we're in the business world, if you want to dress nicely, your first impression matters, or, hey, the way you just shook my hand, it felt like a string cheese in my hand. Like, I need you to give me a firm handshake and look at me in the eyes, right? And smile and use my name. So there's certain things that, again, fall in that third pane. And then I use that. And guess what? I use that in management too. Because sometimes you want to tell somebody something, but you don't know how to tell them in a way that they'll receive it well. So the best way for somebody to receive it well is to ask them, go through the 4 panes, like I just did in 1 minute, and say, hey, listen, I don't have to tell you, but if there was something and it could help you, would you want me to tell you? And then when they say yes, well, they can't get upset now. Anyway, so what are your thoughts, Shiraz and Mark, on Sifu Rafael's question?
Sure. First of all, I was a little bit confused there because I thought you were talking PAIN, and then I realized, oh, it's PANE. And so I'm like, what are these 4 pains? Oh God.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So for me, one of the things that I've discovered and that really helps me get through a lot of things is knowing like a reality interventionist, because I deal with reality addiction. Once I found out that people are addicted to current circumstances, like physically addicted through the chemicals in their body, it was a game changer, because people can have results, start to see improvement, and they start to see the life get better, and then they lose it. And oftentimes that's your body going into withdrawal. However, it's your body going into a chemical state, trying to get back into homeostasis, where it's very happy to be. And we say, well, that's my fault. I'm doing something wrong. We go into all the self-judgment and do better. What's wrong with you? And that's not healthy. So when I found out about this component, when I see stuff going down, there's 2 things that I go to. Is this withdrawal? And if it's withdrawal, okay, let's get back on the wagon and get back up and not get upset with myself. Otherwise, I ask, well, why do I want to start going down now? Because nothing happens in your life that you don't want happening at an unconscious level. So instead of saying, why is this happening to me? What am I doing wrong? It's like, no, why am I doing this? What's the benefit here I'm not seeing? And that always unlocks things. Now, sometimes it doesn't unlock it immediately for me, in which case, go to a coach. A coach will spot all your crap that you're hiding from yourself and let you know what's going on. And then we find out, oh, you're doing it because, just a couple of years ago, I found a way to one of my coaches said, let's do a $100,000 program. And I said, sure. And we developed this $100,000 program. And then I wasn't actually selling it. I got very busy, which I found out was a distraction. My regular income started to go down, which was also a distraction. And it was because deep down, I'm like, can I deliver over $100,000 worth of value so people feel that this is worth it? And because I wasn't centered in that, I wasn't trying to sell the program, and I was creating financial distress as a distraction, so I couldn't go into that. Working with my coach, I let that go. Why do I want this here? So I don't have to worry about that. And then all of a sudden I started selling the program. So nothing happens that you don't want it to happen. So just start asking that question. What's so great about the situation that I'm not seeing? So I can let that go.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to kind of build upon that, really what we're talking about is, I like to say, is you need to, if you're talking about untapping somebody's potential, or you have to give it room to flow, almost like a river, right? So you have to eliminate all of the dams that are in the way. And you're exactly right in terms of people being addicted to reality, those patterned responses, those patterns that they have in their mind and body that go back to that identity that we need to have from the very beginning. So there's times where, like you said, how is this hurting me? These things that that are doing to sabotage yourself. But you also want to get them to start thinking about how are those sabotaging things that they're doing helping them. And I don't necessarily mean helping them get to where they want to go, because if it was sabotage, it wouldn't be keeping them from getting to where they want to go. But how does doing those things keep them in that state of homeostasis, right? What is the benefit that they get, whether it's real or not, but what is their perceived benefit of doing those things? Because once they're aware of that, then they can consciously decide pro or con. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sure does. It makes more than sense. It makes dollars. That's excellent.
Jose, I love everything that we're talking about. And one of the things that you mentioned before is that you're a white belt. And when we think about martial arts, somebody has to start somewhere. As a coach, you had to start somewhere. As an entrepreneur, you had to start somewhere. So in martial arts, you progress through the belts because you stuck with it. You become a black belt because you stuck with it. But a lot of people, they think that the real goal is black belt. And they're missing the point. If that was my goal when I first started, I would not have been doing martial arts for 49 years. I would have been done a long time ago. I wouldn't be in the position I'm at now, still a white belt, still a white belt. And when we can look at our life, it's every moment is one that we should cherish, but don't live in it. Move from it. Understand that every moment is that step that you need to take, that you need to cherish that moment for a second. But don't stay there. To move on, just like the four pains you talked about. And when we can think about our life, what we don't know, we don't know. Therefore, we need to look not only in the mirror, but we need to look at other people because they sometimes have the answers we've been looking for aggressively. And they're going to turn around and say, you know that you've been looking for this thing so long. It's in you. But because you don't believe in you, you don't see it. And that's what Jose talked about. His coach said, I see something in you that you don't see. And it's not because Jose didn't want to see it or anyone else. It's because we're afraid sometimes of seeing how amazing we really are. Every one of you is more amazing than you've ever given yourself credit for. I never want to be on a pedestal because those things are not steady anyway. I want to be in a nice, comfy chair, big armrest, comfy, relaxed. And when you can consider your life has purpose. And if you have not found what your purpose is in life, stop, drop everything, and spend some time with you because you're amazing. You really are. And every one of us has told you that you're amazing in every way. Don't allow anyone to tell you otherwise. And that's the way we unleash our own potential, to sit with ourselves, to be intentional about ourselves, not to be bragging about, oh, look what I've done. Look at me. Look how great I am. No, that's usually the person who hasn't accomplished much in real life. In their dream world, they have. the top. I hope that I will continue to grow until the day I die. And I know you guys, you have a growth mindset. I know that you all have that same thinking that I just shared with you.
You know, Sifu, you made some great points and absolutely love it. Three things really quick on my side. Number one is Purpose-Driven Life, Rick Warren, great book. Mm-hmm. So you got to have a purpose, mission, vision. You got to know what you're after and what you're doing and why you're doing it. But outside of that, you're right. The destination is not black belt, it's red belt. Just kidding. It's not a destination, it's a journey. The martial arts is a journey. The belts are just designed to show you that you're learning and growing and to measure your progress, but it's not so much saying that you've arrived, because we never arrive, right? We're all working on something, and that's really what it is. So, but number three, somebody here in the comments, and there's no name attached to the comment, but they said, makes sense, I went through a time of self-sabotage. And I think self-sabotage is one of the biggest enemies of unleashing your full potential and of having a strong mindset, because the reality is, who do we listen to most of the day throughout the day? Ourselves, right? We listen to our own self-talk, the automatic negative thoughts, the tapes that play over and over and over. And most of what we say is negative. For most people, like 70% or more of what we say to ourselves is negative. And it's the same thing that we were thinking yesterday, and saying yesterday and the day before and months before that and years before that. And until you are able to stop self-sabotaging, you know, you're not going to see the next level of your life, whether it's personal or professional, because we will never outperform our self-image, right? Our self-image is in direct alignment with how we see ourselves. And how we see ourselves is in direct alignment with what we do in terms of our behavior patterns. You know, so Dr. Phil says all the time, he says, we don't break bad habits, we just replace one behavior with another behavior. So if you have a negative behavior that has at some point turned into a habit, you just replace that negative behavior with a opposite positive behavior, and you do it long enough and it becomes a habit, right? And with time, as you're installing these new habits and new ways of thinking and speaking, and there's a lot of people that are hung by their tongue. That's a great book too. If you haven't heard of it, read it. It's called Hung by Your Tongue. Because we are eliminating ourselves out of life. We are basically cutting our own legs from under us. We are positioning ourselves to lose because of how we think, which is directly linked to what we say. And what we say is directly tied to how we show up with our physical actions. And our physical actions with repetitive behaviors become habits, and your habits become kind of where you end up in life, in your lot. So we have to be very, very careful to protect our mind and to watch what we say and to watch what we accept from other people when they speak into our lives. It's very, very important. That's why they say protect your environment. Protect your environment, and that includes people. And if you have people that are not making you better, that are dragging you down or putting you down, or you know, squashing your dreams or trying to put out your fire that you just lit, you can still love them from afar. You don't have to be in their circle, in their network, and sometimes that's family too. So you just have to be very careful of who is in your life, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're reading, and how you're showing up. But it's so important that we don't self-sabotage, because every time we self-sabotage, we are taking 2-3 steps back, further away from our goals and our dreams. And we cannot afford it, because we have one life to live. And I've been told many times, Jose, we only live once. And I always say, no, we only die once, but we live daily. We have to be fully alive every single day, and we have to pursue our best selves. And our best selves starts with how we think and what we say and how we show up with our actions.
Well, one thing that's come up with how we see ourselves and how we see the world, there was a video I watched, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called The Money Tree, where they put dollar bills in a tree and out on the street just to see how people would react if they walk by this tree and see money. And they had all these ideas of what would happen. People would rush to get it, or be watching other people, or tell other people, or be too afraid to touch the money. But one of the things that happened that they didn't expect was people would come up to the tree and look at the tree and not see the money. Because you don't see with your eyes, you see through your eyes based on your beliefs, based on your mindset. And people couldn't physically see money in the tree. And so this is the same thing with everything in your life, your opportunities, how you see yourself. You don't know what you don't see because of your filters, which is why it's so important to do things to change your mindset and to hang out with people that see it differently, that can point out, well, here's a possibility you're not even looking at. Here's something about you're not acknowledging. So you can start to see differently and then show up differently.
Showing up is important. When we go ahead, Mark.
No, it does kind of remind me of a story. There was a old coffee company in Hawaii, and this is before automation and all that kind of stuff. And basically, what they would do is they would pick all of the, I know they don't. I think coffee actually comes from a nut, if I'm not mistaken, but whatever. They get it down to where it's the beans that they're going to be using, and they had dug basically rooms into the ground, and they put filters over the top of them that has different gauge, and then they would pour the beans out and then just basically shake them, and they would sift out when they got to the appropriate gauge in there. And they found out that after the company grew and automation became a thing, that the quality of the product actually went down because of the artificial constructs they were putting in there. So I always like to use that when you're talking about with the filters that we have, is there's opportunities, there's knowledge that are in front of us all the time. And it's just a question of our filters, if they're so tight, nothing gets through. Kind of like Jose was talking about reading books more than once, because you're going to get something from it the second, third, fourth time. Is over a while, that gauge gets open and all of a sudden, boom, something smacks you in the face. And you're like, how did I not see this the first 2 times that I read this book or I saw this movie or whatever that happens to be? So like you were saying, you got to try and get that gauge, you got to make it as wide open as possible and just be receptive. You don't have to use everything, like you were talking about with the notes. I go back periodically and go through my books of notes, and I've said, no, that page is gone, that page is gone. That's not serving me anymore. I'm keeping this one. So just be open for it and be ready to be that sponge, like you were saying before.
Mark, I think you are right. Coffee comes from nuts, and I am a big nut for coffee. So
he's here all week. Try the veal.
When we consider everything that we've been talking about, empowering your mindset, unleashing your potential, we have an opportunity every day to grow. We have an opportunity to read a new book, to listen to a different podcast, to watch this show and watching incredible experts come and share their knowledge with us. Every day we have a choice. Some people choose to watch nonsense, something that does not enrich their lives. Don't get me wrong. Hey, there's nothing wrong with watching a good TV show here and there, but I don't watch TV.
You're missing out. You're missing out on Married at First Sight. I'm just kidding.
I haven't seen it. But I got to tell you what I do. I do spend some time, and I do watch a show that I may be interested in. But when I watch a show, my interest has changed from when I was 18 to when I am today. And the interest is, how are they communicating? How are they treating each other, even as characters? Look at the way the script has been written for them to attract us or distract us from certain things, to fool us or to entice us. So everybody is looking for your attention, whether it's a TV show, a podcast, a commercial, an advertisement. What we need to do is to discern what we really, really, really need in our lives and choose and choose wisely. And Jose, I have never seen that show. It must be something about being married or something.
My wife. I can't fully blame it on her because it takes two to tango, right? But my wife has me watching two shows that I would never ever watch in my life, and I'm revealing another thing I've never revealed to anybody in the world. Two bombs I'm dropping today, and that is my wife has me watching Married at First Sight and The Real Housewives of Potomac.
There you go. But there's listen, in the Real Housewives, I've seen 1 or 2 episodes a long time ago. Even though they're catty and all this kind of stuff, there's such great content if you read between the lines. And that's how I watch anything now. If I'm listening to a podcast, if I have something, I always listen because there's messages there, even in a show like Housewives.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't go out of my way to watch this stuff. It's just every now and then I unplug. My wife.
You're enjoying time with your wife. I get it.
I started watching it, and before you know it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of entertaining, you know. Yeah. Anyhow,
it has come to that time, gentlemen, where we're going to say thank you so much for entertaining us with your brilliance. With your words, with your wisdom. So many great moments were captured. And if you want to see them again, go to my YouTube channel, right? I now call it Sifu TV. Go to YouTube, look up Sifu Rafael TV. You're going to capture this show and all the other shows. Laura B., thank you. She says, great talk. And Shiraz, you have some great fans, right? Such great talk, lots of interesting content. So hello, Shiraz. Here you go. Shiraz, you're the man. You got people loving on you.
Awesome.
It's incredible. By the way, I don't know if you saw this comment earlier. I just got to put it out there. Yes, I did, Raquel. I did help her. And she's now an incredible guest on other people. But she also put something here. I got to look for it. Here it is. Shiraz, this is for you, my friend.
Oh, thanks, Raquel.
I saw that too. And by the way, real quick shout out. If you guys that are watching this live or catching a replay, if you have not connected with Mark or Shiraz on a one-on-one personal level, they both bring tremendous first-class A-grade level value to the marketplace in their area of expertise. So connect with them. I vouch for them. I have seen what they do. I've had great conversations. Sifu Rafael, everybody knows, is gold as well. So make sure you guys are connecting. Expand your networks. Expand your circle. See what kind of collaborative things are out there and how you could serve each other. Make sure you connect with Mark, Shiraz. They're awesome. And I look forward to seeing folks live and in person tomorrow night at the mastermind dinner with Sifu Rafael and myself. He's coming down from New York to Maryland, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you so much for being here, gentlemen, today. You guys brought tremendous value today. This was fun. And Sifu, thank you so much. As always, I love hosting this with you together.
Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you.
We got to create a new show. Instead of saying yes to the dress, say yes to the podcast. Thank you, everybody. Have yourself an exceptional Friday. It is still today. Don't live for tomorrow until today is done. Make every minute count. Thank you, everybody. Have yourself an exceptional rest of the day. And catch us next week. Take care.